quite a different layout this year. Typically, the state of address, we get to invite people around the community to come and be a part of the state of address, of the city address. Obviously, with COVID, much has changed. The last thing I want to do is give a state of the city speech in a mask. It's just like, oh, brother. So let's start there. Let's go back 6 months ago, March 17th, 2020. I signed an executive order declaring a state of emergency. 4 weeks later, we had our first virtual meeting via Zoom. And over the course of time, we've transitioned to this hybrid meeting like tonight, where council members are present here at City Hall, as well as others participating via Zoom. The journey has been a difficult one, but we've adopted and we've moved forward. Difficult times can bring out the best in people, but it can exacerbate problems and expose weaknesses. Our citizens and businesses have had to deal with these difficult times in a historic way. In fact, in the darkest days of COVID, with the nation and our city under lockdown, it was difficult to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We yearned for a day that we would be able to see friends and family and go back to work in a safe environment and to feel safe in our everyday operations. Here we are 6 months later, and we're still struggling with what I would consider our isolation and our deprivation. But we've moved forward with resiliency. We are meeting and mitigating our risk with social distancing, hand washing, sanitizing, and mask wearing. Our businesses are operating by taking painstaking measures to keep everyone safe. And we're beating the pandemic. I say we're beating the pandemic by overcoming the obstacles it puts in our path. There are more battles ahead, but at least now we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We can see how we will survive, innovate, and thrive. When we entered a state of emergency 6 months ago, our vision was impaired. We couldn't see our future clearly. We didn't know if our business or even if our employment would survive. Most importantly, we could not see our families. We didn't know if they would survive. These were and still are disheartening times because many people are still not able to visit their friends and family, while others have suffered the unbearable loss of a loved one. Many have lost their employment and some have lost their businesses. It's been a devastating time for so many. But we must focus on the positive and count our blessings in our community. There are so many stories of neighbors and friends looking out for each other, helping with groceries and essentials. There's so many stories of businesses and citizens coming together in our times of need, providing PPE and face shields to our hospitals and our first responders. Within the confines of City Hall, our staff and departments were not only dealing with the emergent needs of our city, but looking out for each other as well. In the early stages of the pandemic, our police department was running out of protective gear really fast, sanitizer, masks, gloves. So our Parks and Recreation department gave them what they had without hesitation. It was those kind of moments that I'll remember about this year and this pandemic. In the midst of the pandemic, civil unrest struck our nation with the death of George Floyd. Our city had over a dozen peaceful protests, with our police department protecting our citizens' First Amendment rights, while also ensuring the safety of our citizens and businesses. Our fire department and emergency response teams battled on the front lines by assisting individuals with known COVID symptoms, putting themselves at great risk, personal risk for our community. Our technology staff worked tirelessly to create support systems, keeping our critical services in operation. There are so many stories I could share tonight as examples of personal sacrifice. We should be proud of the tremendous acts of kindness and generosity, as well as the excellent citizenship I continue to see in our community. The economy in Lee Summit, as you heard tonight, has also been resilient. Our sales tax revenues have not suffered as much as our neighboring cities. Our citizens have rallied to support our local businesses. And in a great act of foresight, our citizens voted in June to pass a use tax to capture sales tax leakage to online sales. This will be critical to help shore up our tax revenues as we battle this pandemic for the rest of this fiscal year. In the previous year, the Lee's Summit citizens showed their support for public safety improvements by passing a bond for 2 new fire stations and police upgrades, including vehicle and body cameras. Today, more than ever, these body cameras will play an important role in protecting our police officers and citizens. Our citizens are certainly doing all they can to support our community. Many businesses have innovated to provide high-quality products or services by using technology to maintain employee productivity in order to have a chance to survive. Survival for many restaurants depended on their ability to offer the best drive-through or delivery experience. Many manufacturing plants had to adapt their product line to the surging demands for all things COVID-related. Sadly, some of our businesses will not survive, while others will come out of this pandemic and recession stronger than before. The same goes for the city. We have to put forth many measures to continue to deliver our services to the citizens and meet as council while safeguarding our employees. We must continue to use technology and address surging demands and needs of citizens to come out of this pandemic and recession stronger than before. While we've worked diligently to stick together in Lee's Summit, I can't say the same with regard to our region. A regional approach to fighting the pandemic never materialized as counties with health jurisdictions splintered in different direction with different rules, mandates, and restrictions. The restrictions set forth by the Jackson County Health Department have kept us largely at home. The mental and spiritual fatigue that set in by early summer was substantial. With social distancing measures and mask wearing in place, it was time to begin the first steps of coming together with caution. Recommendations to the Jackson County Health Department by the Eastern Jackson County mayors, the recommendations we gave for easing the easing of certain restrictions, such as outdoor events, were not accepted. Recommendations to the Jackson County Health Department by our cities, schools, chambers, and more are still not being accepted, as we have more restrictive mandates than our neighboring jurisdictions. Along the way, some desperately needed activities became available, such as summer recreational sports and some increased capacities. But even now, we are abiding to some Jackson County mandates that are more restrictive than the more dense urban areas such as Kansas City. Outdoor events still are restricted to 100 maximum, while indoor events can exceed 100 depending on occupancy limits. Lee's Summit has been a role model community when it comes to abiding by social distancing and the wearing of masks. We've been more than willing to abide by such important health-related restrictions and are prepared to do more than just wear masks and social distance to keep each other safe. We are modifying our business operations and adjusting every aspect of our work and personal lives as we look out for others. I believe Jackson County should show the same kind of faith our other counties and cities are with their health departments that they're showing towards their citizens with regard to, let me read that again. I believe Jackson County should show the same kind of faith other counties and cities with health departments are showing in their citizens, community partners, and school districts. This experience has made apparent our needs for a stronger regional health department that is better aligned with our community needs, whether we join forces with a sister community or explore the formation of our own health department. However, as we head into the fall and winter months, everyone needs to prepare for the difficulty of preventing the spread of COVID-19 as we spend much more time indoors for the next 6 months. So I'd like to advocate for a common message from our citizens and cities. Let us not focus on the easing of restrictions at this moment, but prepare for our rise out of the confines of the pandemic in the spring. Let's implement the innovative strategies we've learned over the last 6 months and plan for our return to a vibrant, healthy community. This will be a challenge during the holidays and the dreary days of winter, but we need to do everything we can to be safe and not let this pandemic do more damage than it already has done. Let us do all we can to not let another loved one fall victim to COVID-19. There are some positives as we look ahead. CARES Act funds from the federal government were sent to the states and filtered to the counties early in the crisis to help us prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Jackson County assigned approximately $5.9 million to the City of Lee Summit to address our community needs. We're now using those funds to pay for COVID-related expenses and reimbursements. And the City Council recently allotted funds from the CARES Act to disperse to nonprofits and to help citizens and businesses in need in our community. While our risk for a greater number of COVID cases increases in the fall and winter months, one bit of good news is that the percentage of fatalities for those infected with the coronavirus is falling. Our hospitals and doctors are learning and using better methods for treating those who are ill. I think it's important to take a moment to reflect on all that our healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, hospitals, and first responders have gone through, and how they have given all they have to get us through this. Lee Summit is a healthcare hub with basically 3 hospitals and a multitude of medical professionals in our city. They've cared for us and our neighbors to the point of physical and mental exhaustion. Then they have the burden of going home to their families and deal with keeping them safe. They are truly the heroes in this pandemic. I'd also like to express my overwhelming gratitude to all the stakeholders in the city that contributed to the City of Lee Summit strategic plan called Ignite. After a year's worth of work, the process had to be finished during the pandemic. Hundreds of citizens were involved in surveys and discussions online and in person. Tremendous hours of time were committed on behalf of our City Council and administration. Incredible amounts of expertise were provided by our community partners. But most impressive was the passion and energy everyone put into the process. Our citizens outshine other cities in their level of participation. Our administration and community partners put forth maximum effort to help us create a phenomenal blueprint for our city. And our City Council's members led. Sometimes we were out front with our retreats, sometimes as observers and listeners as we allowed our citizens to tell us what they want from our city. It's time to pursue the vision created by the citizens, community partners, city administration, and council. We will pursue this vision by revisiting and aligning the scopes for all of our citizen committees, boards, and commissions with our strategic plan. We will pursue the vision with all of our community partners, such as the Chamber, Downtown Main Street, Velocity, and Economic Development Council, by asking that they align their strategic plans with the objectives and goals of the city strategic plan. City staff will pursue the vision of the strategic plan by helping our Planning Commission and City Council in the completion of a comprehensive plan to make Lee Summit the greatest city to live, work, and play in the region for decades to come. The City Council will pursue the vision by providing the governance and accountability we need to continually move forward by not avoiding or putting off difficult conversations and decisions. The City Council provided vision with our strategic plan and did so hand in hand with our community. We must now put in place the mechanisms, ordinances, and resolutions by working with our administration, Planning Commission, citizen committees, and community partners. With regard to the comprehensive plan, this plan allows us to map out our community development in terms of public policies such as transportation, land use, recreation, and housing. With over 4,000 acres coming online with Property Reserve Inc. over the next 20 years, this process is critically important. Considering the extreme digital disruption the world has experienced the last decade and the surge in technology the last 6 months, our timing could not be more fortuitous. Research recently provided to our City Council brought forth some astonishing projections. Here are a few examples of why the comprehensive plan is essential to our future quality of life. Population growth is certain. Our current city's population is estimated to be at 100,000 plus. The Mid-American Regional Council projects our population will be 168,000 in the year 2040. A population increase of 70,000 people in the next 20 years needs to be well ordered to ensure our quality of life. When you consider our city's population grew by 25,000 between the years 1990 and 2000, it seems plausible we could grow by 30,000 over the next 10 years. Also, in less than 10 years, by 2030, Generation Z, people born between 1994 and 2012, will make up 34% of our workforce. In other words, persons between the ages of 8 and 26, as of today, between 8 and 26, will make up 1/3 of the workforce 10 years from now. We need to start planning to accommodate this very large segment of our population that grew up with phones in their hands and computers in their classrooms. The overwhelming digital disruption we've been experiencing over the last decade is nominal compared to the changes we will experience the next few years. We will be challenged to plan for a future where a healthy economy is one that facilitates immediacy and experience at the exact moment that millennials have become the largest generation and most impactful population driving our economy. There will be some great benefits as we plan for less vehicles on our roads and efficiencies in business and daily operations. There will be challenges as we adapt to housing preferences and commercial growth less dependent on brick and mortar. Neighborhood fulfillment centers will be critical in facilitating rapid and secure delivery of service and products. Currently, warehouse space is of very limited supply in Lee Summit, so we will need to innovate. Consumers will gravitate to shops and retail that provide an experience or that are authentic. Our downtown is, of course, a shining example of a unique and experiential culture. But the Lee Summit footprint is large, and so we need to cultivate a plan for these types of environments in all corners of our city. Baby boomers have been gravitating to the suburbs for years, but now millennials are moving to the suburbs. Vibrant economies with walkable and public spaces are key factors. Continued support for our award-winning parks is a big part of maintaining and building upon our culture. Providing these types of ecosystems in each corner of our community is critical. Supporting development where citizens can gather and connect in unique spaces will cultivate a spirit of community. Supporting a variety of housing options will be important as we entice millennials to move here. And with the median price of a home in Lee Summit nearly twice the median price of a home in Jackson County, we will need to innovate and be mindful of the largest generation, for these are also our future leaders. For decades, our Economic Development Council, Chamber, City Council, and City have been concerned about the outflow of Lee Summit residents on a daily basis as they commute to jobs outside of the city. However, a lot has changed over the years, and we've nearly as many people commuting to our city for work. 38,000 of our citizens are employed outside of Lee Summit, while nearly 32,000 people live outside the city but are employed here. As we move forward, our definition of community needs to include a much broader constituency than being a resident of the city of Lee Summit. We're also going to see a demand for mental health resources. It's going to increase in a world with less face-to-face interaction and more isolation. We have phenomenal resources in our community, but the city needs a more comprehensive and cohesive strategy for working with our stakeholders. Our strategic plan outlines goals and objectives to address these challenges. Lee Summit is a safe community where we prioritize public safety. We take care of our police, fire, and public works departments to keep our citizens and streets safe. We have great pride and love for our beautiful and amazing parks. We have the finest schools, and families often move here for that very reason. We have fantastic dining options and activities throughout the community. We come together in celebration and in times of need. We are generous and look out for our own, and have the finest nonprofits among us. We are a healthcare hub with the best hospitals, surgeons, doctors, nurses, dentists, and more. And we have entrepreneurs and a lot of small businesses that create a diverse economy. We are phenomenal in so many ways. One thing I would like our council, civic leaders, and community partners to focus on as we plan for our future, we need to do all we can to be a strong technology hub. Retaining and recruiting businesses in the technology industries needs to be a higher priority. This is an incredibly important element in maintaining our amazing standard of living. To do this, we must support assertive measures for attraction, but also become a smart city in all possible ways. By becoming a leader in the utilization of technology and communications and investing in technology for our city, we will pave a path for our long-term fiscal health. And while warehousing and distribution centers are changing dramatically and offer us opportunities for growth, the technology industry offers Lee Summit the most promising future given our demographics, high quality of living, and location. The comprehensive plan will support our strategic plan in pursuing the vision of being a world-class community, striving to endure purposeful growth and quality of life for future generations. Our organizational mission is to enrich lives in our community through collaboration, creativity, and commitment. We will do this by building an adaptable framework for continued growth in a changing environment. We will maintain thriving quality neighborhoods that connect the diversity of residents throughout the community. We will celebrate, welcome, and support cultural arts and recreation amenities, and support a healthy community by improving lifestyle choices and opportunities. We will plan for educational opportunities to support economic development and enhance city services to protect our high quality of life. These are the critical factors the citizens, community partners, City Council, and administration identified for us to pursue our vision. To do this most effectively, the City Council must continue to lead by adhering to the culture that we most effectively adopted the last couple years. We must continue to be role models for our citizens, providing a steady hand in our council chambers. We must continue to maintain a civil decorum where all voices are heard and all perspectives considered. We need to have faith in each other and in our citizens, and know that we can have reasonable discussions and debate. We set the expectations with our professionalism and collaboration. We move our community forward by having difficult conversations and making pragmatic decisions. This is what makes local government and decision-making so unique. We make the type of decisions that have the greatest impact on citizens, so we must be as practical, logical, and mindful as possible. I have faith in our City Council and community to have discussions and do our due diligence. We cannot subscribe to ideologies that want to label everything and everyone, or that abides by absolutes. We need to try and avoid perpetuating misconceptions and fallacies meant to avoid having a conversation, and that show little faith in people to have reasonable discussions. I'm also proud of the willingness of our council to have difficult conversations rather than condoning an unhealthy culture of refusing to talk things through. I believe in our abilities to find middle ground and to work together in good faith to serve our constituencies. We must have faith in each other, faith in the process, and faith in the people. We don't always agree, but we work hard to find consensus. Thank you to the council, thank you for setting the tone for our community with your leadership. We set the stage for civil decorum where all the voices and perspectives will be heard. We just need to now implement and continue to implement, that is, sustainable systems with processes for our community partners and citizens to have the same type of healthy discussions and collaboration that we had during our strategic planning process. In doing so, we are showing our good faith in our deserving community. I would like to ask that you help us move forward with a Diversity and Inclusion Commission, because we need to be able to talk about the reasons for supporting or not supporting an issue and need to rely on the expertise and values of our citizens to do so. I know these are hard conversations and will do my best to be sensitive and pragmatic when facilitating them. I have confidence in this City Council and the citizens of Lee Summit to have meaningful discussions that respect all perspectives and values. In closing, I ask City Council, administration, community partners, citizens, and all stakeholders in Lee Summit to continue engaging, collaborating, and pursuing our vision of being a world-class community, striving to endure purposeful growth and quality of life for future generations. Let us fix our sights on our shared vision and continue to overcome any obstacles and challenges placed in our way. I appreciate your passion and commitment to Lee Summit and to each other. And that, my friends, is my state of the city, and it was very hard to write this year in the midst of a pandemic and much that we have faced. But I did mean every word. I've labored over this for a month trying to make sure that we find the positives. And I know it's hard some days, but we made it this far, and I do believe we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I do believe that we know where we're going to be a year from now. We're going to get our projections on the finances, but also for our community. I think you're seeing that we've learned how to continue on wearing these masks and Zooming and hybrids. And you heard earlier the school district's going to go to hybrid. We're going to do this, and we need to continue moving forward. So thank you all.